to augment it in a way that provides authority by statute for the U.S. government to take gold certificates, which we hold them at about a 1974 value, which was, I don't know, $46 an ounce or some such thing, and then bring them to market value and then use that to buy Bitcoin. If we did that, we could probably buy 200,000 Bitcoin every year for 5 years, hold them for 20 years, and not use a single new taxpayer dollar to do it. So, you know, this is a very doable thing.
Pleb Underground is brought to you by NOHhue. Go check them out at NOHhue.com. They are building the Amazon for Bitcoiners, a one-stop shop for Bitcoin-only brands. New brands are going to be added every month, so go check them out. Don't miss what's happening at NOHhue.com. Pleb Underground is brought to you by CypherSafe. You guys all know I am a pet rock enjoyer. Love the swag, love the collectibles. This is the ultimate Bitcoin collectible. That's right, guys. We're talking 16 ounces of solid titanium, the Bitcoin Rouleau Triangle. Go check it out at CypherSafe.io. Has the IMF finally caved to Bitcoin? Headlines like the U.S. will sell its gold for Bitcoin, and the IMF has warned the U.S. not to sell its gold for Bitcoin would make you think so. Well, I'm here to break it down. Is this hype or is this truth? Let's find out. I don't know what happened last week, but it seemed like there was just this insane amount of FUD and Hopium, all kind of mixed into one, and we're just all trying to make sense of it, right? What's real? What isn't? Is the IMF actually going after the U.S. Because of its strategic Bitcoin reserve? Is that even real, or is this just hype coming from giant influencer accounts that desperately need the engagement? Well, in all fairness, I did some digging through a lot of these posts, and guys, this is just a lot of Hopium engagement with absolutely no sources. Anyways, let's dive into the first one here. So here's a tweet that I found from Fiat Archive, right? And here we go. Just in, the IMF board has warned Trump not to add any more Bitcoin to America's strategic Bitcoin reserve, citing volatility and stability risk to the U.S. economy. Unfortunately, there's no source for this, so I can't actually say that it's true. So in all fairness, I'm just going to say that this is a giant nothing burger and not real. But that doesn't stop messaging like this from being propagated all around. Here's a repost from Max. Breaking. The IMF has just recognized Bitcoin as de facto digital gold. Sources confirm the IMF is adding Bitcoin to their own reserves and will include Bitcoin in their SDR basket index as well. In all fairness, this is complete and utter nonsense. There is no source whatsoever. I wasn't the only one to call bullshit on this. Interestingly enough, Dennis Porter, who normally loves the hype, right? Even he had to go back and check this. Here's a post from Dennis going, okay, I've tracked down why people are claiming the IMF said Bitcoin is digital gold. New digital assets designed to be used as a means of payment or act as a store of value. This is a massive stretch to jump to IMF says Bitcoin is digital gold. The key phrase is designed to be, a good sign that the IMF is recognizing this, but definitely not an endorsement of Bitcoin as digital gold. So we could see there, that was just a giant stretch, but that doesn't stop the influencers from making up complete nonsense. And here's another post, right, from Max. The IMF has forbid the U.S. from doing bitbonds, citing the destabilizing influence of Bitcoin on the U.S. economy. There is actually no source for this at all either. What a surprise. The lies don't stop there. All right, here's another post from Max, and this is all last week. So I don't know what his point was of all this. He just has this, it seems he has this incredible disdain for the US, and of course, whatever. I'm not a statist. I don't think that like one country is better than the next country. It's all just fucking states, okay, guys? It's all just fucking states. I get it that we can rationalize and be like the lesser of two evils and blah blah blah. It doesn't matter. There's the state and there's you, right? That's all there is. Anyways, So here we go. This is another post from Max. The IMF and various credit rating agencies are lowering U.S. credit ratings, citing the destabilizing influence of Bitcoin. They recommend the U.S. to immediately liquidate their Bitcoin strategic reserve. And this was, of course, total fucking nonsense. Once again, there is no source for this. None of this is real. It's just absolute garbage. Now, the one thing I will say, okay, is that the IMF, because the IMF definitely does raise and lower its credit ratings of all the different member countries and all that good stuff, there is actually no evidence at all that the IMF lowered its credit score of the U.S. based on a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And in all fairness, I actually couldn't find any real commentary from the IMF in regards to the U.S. strategic Bitcoin reserve. So look, a lot of FUD in the last week, a lot of nonsense. Guys, I understand that these hyperbolic accounts make people excited, and especially if you're holding and accumulating Bitcoin, a cheerleader like Max will often make you feel really good about your bags. But I'll tell you this, right? And I've said this 1,000 times, but if your conviction and your confidence is coming from some fucking salesman, you're not going to be able to hang on to this. You will not be able to store your value for any lengthy amount of time. You will most likely not be able to withstand volatility in the market, because that's what it is about these hopium dealers. There's no substance behind it. They just want the clicks and the views and the attention. They don't care what they have to say. It doesn't matter if you get wrecked. Okay? Doesn't matter. And people sit there and think to themselves, well, Phil, how could I get wrecked by buying Bitcoin? You're absolutely right. By buying and hodling Bitcoin, you will not get wrecked. I didn't get wrecked. Okay? But what does get wrecked are your expectations. Okay? And this is what I just said before, and if you don't build up your own conviction, right, understanding why Bitcoin is important without these hypesters, okay, well, then guess what? The market conditions, as they change, this is not going to phase you. You're simply going to look at dips, of course, as buying opportunities, and you're simply going to look at lulls in the market as an opportunity to increase your knowledge and your understanding of Bitcoin. That's about it, okay? But the hype salesmen, they aren't going to go anywhere, and they are never going to fill you up. It's like fast food, right? It's just garbage, right? You're going to eat this, you're going to feel full on the moment, right? It's the high time preference. It's the high time preference in Bitcoin. So you're going to feel full on the moment, and then 20 minutes later, you're going to be starving for something real, okay? And that thing that is real that you're starving for is conviction, okay? And no one is going to be able to spoon feed you that conviction. Only you can do that for yourself. Anyways, guys, hopefully you didn't get caught by this bullshit nonsense about, the IMF essentially attempting to attack the U.S. over its Bitcoin holdings and stuff like that. Look, the IMF is going to flex on countries like El Salvador, okay? For the people who don't understand the IMF relationship, the IMF came from the U.S. So go back, do some research about the IMF, figure out how they got their approvals in order to become the institution that they are. Look, the IMF is, even if they do say anything about US and its Bitcoin, it is a giant nothing burger. But as of right now, all of that IMF news has been total FUD. Anyways, guys, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I'll catch you on the next one.